Hello, everybody! Actually, it's really early in the morning. Probably not too many everybody's here. But what we're going to do today is, 2 days ago I made a video because the previous day I talked about on Twitter that you could jump right in and start mining Bitcoins and Litecoins. And everyone wanted me to make a tutorial about it, so I made a general tutorial about it. Kind of just going over an overview, and then what that did is just confuse the crap out of everybody really bad. So I understand that was it was mainly meant as an overview, so you could sort of jump in if you kind of knew what you were doing, but if you didn't, it was a little bit too vague. So today we're going to actually start from scratch and go through how to start mining Litecoins. Bit of an overview if you had not seen the previous video. Bitcoins are kind of out. At this point, don't bother mining Bitcoins unless you want to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in heavy-duty equipment. Litecoins, on the other hand, are still able to be mined with your GPU, so your video card can mine Litecoins fairly effectively right now. So because of that, I recommend doing Litecoins. The current exchange rate for Litecoins to US dollars is 620 Litecoins per US dollar, or Bitcoins per US dollar, I'm sorry. And then Litecoins are $8.39 per US dollar. And when I started mining Litecoins a month ago, they were around $2.50. So, if you get into Litecoin mining right now, you could still jump up pretty high if you're in there for the long haul. If you can hang in there for a couple of years, Litecoins have every bit of a chance to catch up to Bitcoin. Although there are more Litecoins than Bitcoins, Litecoins are more like the silver standard, and Bitcoins are kind of like the gold standard. People are talking rumors that Litecoin could get as high as $3,500 somewhere in the future. I can't guarantee that. I am not some kind of financial advisor, by the way, so don't hold me to any of these numbers. This is just what I'm seeing. So I'm not some kind of financial analyst, and I'm not saying you could make millions of dollars doing this by any means at all. I'm just showing you kind of how to start mining these coins, and we'll go through the benefits of each. Okay? Basically, Bitcoins, the difficulty is so hard to find a Bitcoin right now that you need a lot of capital investment. You need to invest in some serious hardware to mine for Bitcoins, and even if you do, the chance of you finding one is next to impossible. I mean, they do crank them out, but Litecoins, on the other hand, they do put out quite a few more every day. So the chance of you finding a Litecoin is significantly easier than finding a Bitcoin. All right, so what am I talking about exactly? What are we finding? Well, basically, Bitcoins and Litecoins are generated at a central server. I'm not going to go into all the nth degree details where these coins come from, but let's just put it this way. Somebody, like a central bank, not a real bank, but a central Litecoin bank, mints another set of coins and releases it to the public in a hidden hash code. And what I mean by a hash code is it looks like this. Okay? And in that code is an algorithm that your computer can run through and try to decrypt that algorithm so that you can find the coin. If you decrypt that algorithm and you're successful, you get awarded the coin. Simple as that. Okay? Now that this is just a made-up script number, but basically it's something like that. So that's why they call us miners, because we are literally digging in these long algorithms to try to find these coins to get them. Now, why are they doing this? Because this Bitcoins and Litecoins, all of this is called cryptocurrency. It is an alternative to the normal monetary exchanges. So while gold is a good standard and silver is a good standard, a lot of the countries in the world own a lot of gold. A lot of private individuals own a lot of gold. So it's kind of difficult to really say that you're independent of a country by owning gold. You know, I mean, you can own gold, and it does have a certain bit of whatever to it. But if the government wanted to take that gold away from you, they could. You see what I mean? Whereas the cryptocurrencies are sort of hidden in plain sight, and you own them. So independent of any country in the world, it's a monetary investment that you can have on your own. Okay, so it's kind of like it's kind of like a stock exchange, a global stock exchange that is not dependent on any one country's rise or fall. Put it that way. So cryptocurrencies in the past have been used for some sort of nefarious bad stuff. Bitcoins, for example, were used to buy drugs on Silk Road, and then the feds shut down Silk Road. But a lot of people in the public associated Bitcoin with drug buying, and it's not. There's many, many different companies on the internet that accept Bitcoin and Litecoin as payment. In Canada, they're talking about having Bitcoins be available on ATM machines. So this is a real currency, and it has nowhere to go but up. Now, the difference between Litecoin, Bitcoin, and, say, gold is, yes, you can own a portion of gold. Like, you could own a quarter of an ounce. All right, now what you would do with a quarter of an ounce, who knows? But you can own a quarter of an ounce. With Bitcoins and Litecoins, you can see that you own a really tiny percentage. Like, you can own a very, very tiny little piece of that actual coin. All right? So there is no, like, you don't go all in necessarily when you get this. Say, like, you start mining Litecoins and you find it takes you a couple of weeks to even get a single coin. That's okay, because you're actually owning a whole chunk of the larger pool. All right, hopefully that makes some sense. This video, by the way, will be available on YouTube later on. I'm doing this mainly live now so that I can answer questions if you have them. So for those of you who are in the audience, if you have questions about this, please ask them, because it might be something that I'm missing, or maybe I mispronounced or said wrong, which is very possible. All right, so what we're going to do is start from scratch. Like, you want to get into Litecoin mining and you don't know what to do. Before we actually get into the software itself, we're going to go ahead and watch the exchange while we're talking. I want to recommend video cards. There are two different main video card manufacturers, most of you know. There is NVIDIA, which we'll call Team Green, and then there's ATI, or AMD, which we'll call Team Red. Now, the green cards, the NVIDIA cards, can hash pretty well, meaning that that long algorithm that I just showed you up on top, it can go through the GPU, and it can be hashed fairly well. We'll say it can get around 80 to 100,000 hashes per second on a GTX 770, which I own right now. On the flip side, an older AMD 6950, which I also have on my wife's computer, can actually hash out 450 to 500,000 hashes per second. And it's older than the GTX 770. It uses less voltage, and it's a much more efficient miner. So, as I've shown in the past and I've talked about before, do not bother mining at all with an NVIDIA card. You're just kind of wasting your time. So, let's just throw NVIDIA right out the window. Sorry about that. I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat. I have some tasty lemon water because I'm starting to come down with a cold, so my voice is cracking. Anyway, back to the show. If you have a NVIDIA card, you can use it, but at some point down the road, if you really want to get sort of semi-serious about mining, you really want to go AMD. So that's my recommendation. Okay, so if you have an AMD card, you don't really necessarily want to buy the latest generation, believe it or not, because they are a bit voltage heavy. Now, if you have a card that can crank through, let's say it can crank out 1 million hashes per day, this card can, but it burns up 800 watts of electricity. If that, so we'll just say that's one card. Now, the other card you have cranks out half a Bitcoin per day, and it uses 200 watts of electricity. Which one do you think would be best to use? It's going to be the second one, because even though it's cranking out less of a coin a day, it actually produces more coin per money than the other one. So the other one you're cranking through, you're getting lots and lots of these coins, and if the coins go to $1,000 a piece, who cares what the electricity costs? But for right now, the current cost, it's really not worth going into doing the first card, because if it's using up 800 watts of electricity, the cost per coin is way upside down. Okay, so you're probably better off just using the second card, maybe getting 2 of them, and then they're still going to be 400 watts, but they're going to be cranking out more than the first card. So the recommended card right now that is best wattage per power is the AMD 7950. There are the new cards, the R9 280X, the 270X, and the 290X, or the 290X, the 280, 270. There's no X's in those. But realize this, those cards, while they did tweak them a little bit, it has a smaller die, are literally the same exact cards as the 7000 series. So they're like the 7990, or the 7980, the 7970, the 7950. Brand new plastic, brand new smaller die, and slightly faster, but some of them actually use more power than the 7000 series. So ultimately, you probably want to stay away from those ones altogether. Okay, the brand new ones. So that's why they recommend right now, currently, as of November 21st, 2013, you want to try to stick with a 7000 series cards. And those on eBay, believe it or not, are selling for a lot of money, because everyone realizes this and they're trying to get these cards and eat them up. Okay, so that's the video. Those are the video cards you want to use, GPUs specifically. I am going to show you today the mining. I'm actually going to show you on my GTX 770, because I am waiting for my 7950s to show up, and currently in this computer all I have is this GTX 770, but I'll show you exactly how it does hash, but not so well. Alright, so that's about the cards. Now we're going to actually do a setup, and we're going to set up this from scratch. So I'm going to make brand new accounts. I'm going to show you the logins and the password. I don't give a damn, because none of these accounts are going to be real. So it's not like if you guys steal it, it's going to do anything to me. So that's why I'm going to do everything from scratch. And then that too will also show you how to set all this up. So now we've talked about that we have the card. So you've got a card that can do this type of hashing. Now you can also hash with your CPU, but it's next to nothing. I mean, it would take you 5 years to get a coin, so don't even bother with that. So you have to have a GPU. So you've got your GPU, you're all set. Now you're going to want to try, the first thing you want to need is a wallet. Now, the wallet is literally another hash code that is assigned to you. Now, how you get this wallet is there are several websites out there. I'm going to show you how I find a lot of this stuff. So, okay, there's Litecoin.org. You can get a Litecoin wallet over here. Noob looking for a Litecoin wallet. This is where I find a lot of stuff. A lot of people said, well, how did you know? I find it just by searching on Google. Okay. So there are many different ones. LightAddress.org. Okay, there we go. Just by going to this, I got the wallet from these guys. There, it gives you a QR code you can scan, and then this is your wallet address. I'm sorry, this is your wallet address. All Litecoin wallets start with the letter L. So there you go. All Bitcoin ones start with a B. You can get a paper wallet. This is cool. So you can literally print these out. A bulk wallet, a brain wallet, vanity wallet, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Why you say, well, wait a second, if it doesn't matter, how am I going to get my money? Well, we'll talk about that. So you can get the wallet from here, lightAddress.org. That's okay. I'm not going to, because I have a reason for it. I am eventually. Hey Jerry, how 85. So Jerry says, now the good part starts. I found the software and the tutorial were so complex to understand Bitcoin and Litecoin. Why don't they have a one-click program set it up? They don't. And that brings up a good point, Jerry. So thanks for popping up and saying something. This is very complicated, and it is in almost an intentional way. If everybody could jump into doing Bitcoin and Litecoin mining instantly right now, like just hitting a button and all of a sudden they're mining coins, it would cause a bit of a problem. The more people that start doing this, the more difficulty increases, and the more that the difficulty increases, which is an automatic algorithm, by the way, the more difficulty increases, the actual smaller amount of Litecoins you make. You'll make less Litecoins or Bitcoins for the more people that are in the pool. Not just the pool, but all of it together. So everyone, there are people out there that are helpful. Like I'm trying to be helpful, and there are actually places like we're going to talk about what we mine LTC, that are pretty helpful. But yeah, if too much of this gets out too quick, then there'll be issues. So it is a little bit intentionally difficult. But I'm going to teach you anyway because I don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me if 10 new people start Litecoin mining it. I don't care. I'd rather be helpful to you guys. Okay, so back to the yeah, exactly. You can't give everyone a money printer. Jerry just said. So yes. All right, so I'm going to get my wallet on the exchange, and here's why. Because I'm ultimately going to take the money I generate and turn it into real money. Like you can see this, Litecoin to US dollars. Let's just say I had 50 Litecoin. I could cash it out right now and get $419. Not bad considering that you can get a Litecoin a day. So in 50 days, you've made $419 as of right now. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme by any means, but it is a way to make some money. And in 50 days, I guarantee you did not spend $419 on the electricity bill. So right now, there is a chance. Right now, you are still up with Litecoins. If you had gotten Bitcoins back when they were 50 cents a piece and you had 1,000 of these, you would have 8,000. Or this is Litecoin. Sorry. Let's go back. Let's go to Bitcoins. Let's just say you had 1,000 Bitcoins at one point. You would own 1,000 Bitcoins. You would have $623,000. Oh, I did the wrong side. $622,000 for owning 1,000 Litecoins. Do you see why now big companies are buying all these large ASIC processors to crank these Bitcoins through? That is a return on investment like nothing else I've ever seen. And while, yes, people say it's a bubble, so what? Say you wanted to cash out right this second? You're going to make a crap load of money. So, yeah, it's a bubble and it might burst. But for now, you can get out and you make a crap load of money. Okay, so let's go back to what I was talking about. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set up this thing and I'm going to go geekdomo@gmail.com because that's my thing. And password, we're going to call it... Oh, I got to sign up, sorry. So we'll do geek at geekdomo.com. And... colors like geeky tutorial. Let's just call it geek. Call it geek T. Okay. Seven 9250. I hate captchas and I agree with the terms. Okay, go to... Oh, no, I guess I gotta do it real quick. I'll just check my emails. Okay, what we're gonna do is we'll paste it over here because it didn't seem to like that in the other window. Okay, regardless. All right, so while we're waiting for that thing to confirm, it might not because I'm using an incognito window, mainly because I've got two windows of, I have two windows of, what do you call it, set up. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I've made an account on here called Geek T, okay? And all you need to do is go down here to funds and you go to Litecoin and you go to deposit. Okay. And once you've done that, you made your account, you go to Litecoin, you go to deposit. There is my Litecoin address. See, it starts with letter L. It's a Litecoin address. And it tells you how long it takes. Basically what ends up happening. So let's go through the process here. We're going to run our software. It's going to then go to our pool, and our pool will be able to take out the money and send it to this deposit. It then has to be verified 6 times, and that's exactly the same thing you're doing when you're running the Litecoin miner, is you're doing verifications at the same time you're mining for coins. When the verification gets approved 6 times by 6 random people, it then verifies that that was an actual deposit, and then you will have your Litecoins up here. Okay? And then once you have your Litecoins up here, then you go out here to the exchange and you can sell your Litecoins for $8.45 currently. And you just jumps right up there. Look at it, it's going right up. And then you could make real money and you transfer it out in PayPal or whatever. Okay? So that is how you get your wallet. So now we have a wallet, right? So we'll go back to our page. There's our wallet address. So now we need a pool. So after we have a wallet, we have our computer, or our GPU. We've got our wallet now, and now we're going to get a pool. Now the way pools work is, okay, there's 2 different ways. You can actually get the code yourself to hash directly from the server. I'm not going to cover that because it's a little bit complicated. I'm not going to get into that right now. Or you can join a pool. A pool is a little bit easier. Now the way a pool works is, if you're by yourself and you're hashing away, like say 1 million hashes per second. Let's just say you got a great system. You're doing 1 million hashes per second. Then you hash away for 8 weeks. You could then unlock maybe one of the coins. Or you can join a pool where your million joins in with everybody else's, and now this pool is hashing out 9 gigahashes per second. Now, people who are doing Bitcoins will go, that's easy. I can do 9 gigahashes per second on my computer alone. But with Bitcoin or Litecoins, the algorithm's a bit harder, so you can only usually get around 1,000 or so with a normal card. Okay, so what we're going to do is sign up things. We're going to make a new account, register, and we're going to call it Geeky T. And we'll just make a password. And then we'll do geek at geekdomo.com. Geek at geekdomo.com. Now I'm walking you through all of these. And the four-digit pin is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do favorite sports team, Manchester United. I don't know. I don't watch sports, but like I said, this is a made-up account. So we'll do lowercase g here too, by the way. Okay. Okay. So now I successfully joined it, so we're going to go Geeky T and password. And I'm walking you through all these steps piece by piece. I know this is a little bit slow for some of you people. You're probably like, oh my God, what is he doing? There's a lot of people that have watched my other video and said, you went too fast or you didn't explain everything in detail. So we're doing this piece by piece. So we got I showed you how to get your Litecoin address. Now I'm showing you how to get to join the pool. So now I'm in the pool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here to my workers. Okay. And we have a brand new worker. The login is GeekyT1. And the password is X. I'm telling you this because I don't care. Want to know why? If you decide that you're going to go ahead and start using Geeky T and X for your login, all it's going to do is give me more Litecoins. So, yes, by all means, make an account and use my login and password because it doesn't matter. And you can make more workers. And why you would make more workers is, like, I have 2 computers and both of them have different video cards, and so I'm running the thing on one, and the login is Geeky1. Now, if I make a new one, I can call it Geeky T2, and the password being X, and create a new worker. Now I can run it in multiple different ways and multiple different computers, and they all kind of point to the same pool, like this is all going together. Okay, so let's look a little bit about the WeMineLTC site, because now we know we have our worker. We have a GeekyT1 is the login, and the password is X. So now what we're going to do is I want to show you some of the really cool features of WeMineLTC. So we're going to actually go to the chat room. It's an IRC chat room, and we're going to type in !calc, and we'll say 1024. And it just popped up and said, my camera's right in the way. At the current difficulty of 14.29, your expected Litecoin earnings are $6 per day, $5 per week, and $21 per month. So that's at a current value of $8.48. And basically it's saying that you're making $183 a month if you were hashing out 1,000 per second. Okay? Pretty cool, right? And that's a really neat little deal. You can just drop it right in there. And then you see that this IRC chat's really nice. You can actually come here and ask questions and chat with people, and then everyone's really friendly. Like, I haven't seen anybody go, oh, F off, noob. You know, if you say, hey, noob, here, I need help. Okay, estimated 2 days and 23 hours until next difficulty of 1703. So the difficulty is going up because more and more people are starting to join the pool. But look at that. That's 1703. You're freaking out. You're going, oh my God, I'm not mining right now and I'm going to lose. No. Right now, Bitcoins are over 600,000 difficulty. So Litecoins being only 1,700, it's not so bad. It's okay. Somebody says, how can the difficulty go down? Yeah, we won't talk about that, but it can go down. I found that out last night. Okay, so another thing that's cool is you can look at your own stats here. There you go, which we aren't hashing yet, so we have no stats. And then also you can, what I recommend is don't donate anything. I would say donate 0. But here's why, because, you know, unless if you're cranking out hundreds of thousands of hashes per second, then yeah, you could donate a little bit back to the pool. But honestly, if you're making a Litecoin a day, giving them 0.1 Litecoin a day at the same time is kind of crappy. You're not really making a lot of money, and you're giving away half or a percent of it anyway. But you can, if you feel like you want to, go ahead. But here's how you set this up. So the payment address, right here, we have to protect with Google Authenticator. I'm not going to do this right now because I've already got Google Authenticator set up for my other account, and it took a few minutes. But basically, when you've done the Google Authenticator authentication and you get your verification code and you set up your Google Authenticator on your phone, this address right here will be an open box, and you can put in the address here. So the address that goes here is not your email address. It's not geekyt. It's not geek@geekdomo.com. It is this address. So you'll take this address here, copy, and when you've done your Google authentication, you just paste that there, authenticate it. Bob's your uncle. Every time you get paid, it'll go out. Now you can set an automatic payment threshold of 5 Litecoins all the way up to 250 Litecoins. If you don't want to do that and you want to get paid instantly, you can do that down here where you cash out, and it'll pay out, and then this address here will be your Litecoin wallet. Okay, and then you can cash out, but they take a 0.02 transaction fee for immediate cash outs. So I set it for 5. So when I hit 5 Litecoins, it'll automatically send that for free over to my payment address. Well, actually, they do take a tiny little cut. It's really small. It doesn't matter. And then these people take a tiny little cut too. But we're talking hundreds of thousands of a Litecoin, not a Litecoin, but thousandths of a Litecoin, like 0.001. Okay. All right. So that's all done. We've got our miner stuff set up. Okay. We have the pool. And you can see this pool is cranking through quite a bit. So the way the pool works is you share a part. So as you get doing this, your shares go up. So say you're starting to crank away and you have 1,000 shares. The pool shares right now are 1, 2, 3. I have dyslexia, so it's hard for me to see numbers. So the pool shares are 2,983,000. Now, if you got 1,000 of those, you would be instead of 83,000, 84,000, and you would get a cut every time a coin comes up. And then when that happens, it goes into the account balance. Thank you, Hallfark. Thank you. It's beautiful. I work on my beard. Anyway, you get a portion of that, and you go, wait a second, I'm only getting a portion of this key, or this coin? Yes, because right now this pool is cranking through like 800 Litecoins a day. And while you say, well, I'm not doing all that great, I'm only getting a portion of the coin, it's faster than you would get it by yourself. But what the actual fact is, and somebody's done some studies, and I read a couple of them, that if you do it solo, it might take you 2 weeks to find a full Litecoin at the rate that you can go at. If you do it in a pool, it might take you 2 weeks to find a Litecoin at that rate. So it actually works out to it's almost identical. It's just that a pool is easier to set up than trying to set up the thing to get the individual stuff yourself. All right. So yeah, you're better off, I think, using a pool. But it's up to you. I mean, it's totally up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but I'm going through the simplified method of how to get all this going. So we've got our wallet here. We've got our account set up on our pool here. Now what we got to do is set up the software. So the software that I recommend is called GUI Miner Script. Now you got to be careful here because there's two GUI miners. So it's GUI Miner Script. Script is a script is S-crypt. It's not really right. It's not using a script. It's right. It's using the S-crypt algorithm, which is where the coins are hidden. But you need this because if you get GUI Miner plain vanilla, that's for mining Bitcoins. This GUI Miner script is for mining Litecoins. Okay? So you just go ahead, you download it, and you install it. And I'll show you what it looks like once you install it. Okay, so now we've got it installed, and I'm sorry that it was already set up. All you basically do is go File, New Miner, New CG Miner, and we'll call this one Demo. Okay? And this is what it'll look like when you get here. So you should see your processor here, which I have the i3-3770, i7, and my GPU. You don't want to use your motherboard. Let's do. I mean, well, it's okay. Basically, it won't give you enough oomph. It really will take forever, and you won't get anything. So don't bother with that. Litecoins are a different variation of Bitcoins. Bitcoins came out first. Litecoins are very new, so people are saying, it's a scam. It's really not. It's actually being accepted on the BTC exchange. This was Hallfark just asking me, are Litecoins just a variation of Bitcoins? Bitcoins, we think of them as the gold standard. There are less of them being produced every day. So Bitcoins are really the most valuable ones, but they're also the hardest to find, meaning that you might not find any in a year if you keep digging right now with your GPU. Oh, it says it's GUI Miner is bandwidth. Yeah, the server's on it. Yeah, right now everyone's freaking out and getting into the GUI Miner. I tell you what, for you in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and pop this GUI Miner into my Dropbox, and I'll give you the link. Okay, just give me uno momento, por favor. Where's the downloads? Because when I got in it a month ago, it was easy. People weren't freaking out. Hey, Norgerbert. GUI Miner? No. Give me a second. I just got to find the zip file. It's really small. It's like 20 meg or something. Why can't I find it in my thing here? Oh, here it is. Got it. Okay, we're going to cut it, and then we're going to go up here into my Dropbox, and we're going to paste it. All right, it's 20 meg, 24.2 meg. So give me a minute. It'll take a few minutes for you to be able to get it, okay? Oh, I don't have Dropbox running. Oops. I turn off pretty much everything that I don't necessarily need, okay. Copy public link. All right, here you guys go. There's my Dropbox. Now, it's not available right now. It's going to take 15-20 minutes to get up there, okay? So give it a minute, but then you guys can get about that. Okay, So why am I doing a tutorial about this? Hallfark just asked. So we'll derail for just a minute, and I'll come back to the actual tutorial in just a second. Because Bitcoins right now are pretty much out of your reach. You can mine Bitcoins with your GPU, but if you just say you had 3 GPUs running all day long, it would probably take you a couple of weeks to find a Bitcoin, and it maybe not even find a Bitcoin, but find portion of a Bitcoin, and the electricity you use to get there, it's way upside down. Like, you can't do it. So they made these little ASIC processors that you can buy on Amazon. There's one that do 330 million hashes per second, and it's the size of a USB thing that's like this big. And you can put 4 of them on this and run that, and it uses hardly any power, and it's doing 300 gigahashes per second, and it might take you 2 months to find a Bitcoin. So it's almost not worth it. There's almost no way to get any money out of Bitcoins. But Litecoins, on the other hand, brand new. Litecoins are going up, like we saw on the exchange here. When I got into Litecoin mining, it was about a month and a half, 2 months ago. It was about $2 for a Litecoin. Not even that. It was like $1.70 or something. And then now it's already up to $8. So in the time that I've been doing it, which I've been doing it off and on, because I really didn't think it was ever going to go anywhere really quickly, and I should have been cranking it through. I could have probably 20, 30 Litecoins by now. It's gone up to $8, and if it keeps up with this, it could go several $100s per coin. So everyone's freaking out and getting in the game right now. And I'm just doing the tutorial to try to help you guys get started if you'd like to try to do this. Ignore this chat. It's full of trolls. Like, really, everyone in here is like trolling everybody else, and they just keep yelling at each other. Everyone keeps saying, it's going to crash, time to sell right now. They're saying this crap to try to say... they're trying to get other people to bite. Don't. If you use this site, just ignore. I ignore this chat. And you saw I made that video the other day. I actually made a white box over this thing because it's just a bunch of bull crap. I watched it for an hour one day, and I'm like, these guys are all morons. They're all telling each other to sell so that they can get it cheaper. Whatever. Okay, back to the thing at hand. So GUI miner, yeah, you might not be able to download it yet, guys, because it has to upload. Oh, it's actually working. Try it again. It just worked. It just worked for me. Okay, so now you've got GUI miner script. Hopefully you'll be able to get it here in a minute, and you set it up. So we're back to the setup of the GUI miner script. Where you get the information for this stuff on here is you go to WeMine LTC back here again, and you go to new user info. Okay, and so the host you want to use, and this is kind of weird, they don't explain this, and that's why I'm doing the whole tutorial thing, right, is you have to go and copy this thing like this. You only get this part of the URL. This stratum plus TCP is inferred if you're using GUI script. They know you're going to be using stratum because down at the bottom here you're saying stratum, so you don't need this first part, the stratum plus TCP bullshit. So yeah, so we're going to put this in here, paste that, and we're going to say 3335. That's the port. Now the username is on here also. So we go back to my workers, and we have geeky T1. Okay, we're going to copy that, and I'll put that in the username. And then for password, it's X, right? I'm going to tell it this is the device I want. Now, if you have the AMD cards, look at this. It's already preset. If you want to use any of these cards from 5750 all the way up to a 7970 are already preset up in the GUI miner script. But you notice that the NVIDIA cards are not, because nobody uses NVIDIA to mine. Basically, the thread concurrency for this particular card, I think, is like 12,000. Work size is always 256. Intensity. Now, the intensity is exactly what it sounds like. How hard you're going to push this video card to do this. Maximum is 20. And it's either 10 to 14, and then there's nothing between 14 and 18, or 18 to 20. Like, there is no... I've tried it on 15, and it didn't seem to work. So it's either you do 10 to 14 or 18 to 20. We're going to say for right now, we're going to do an 18. Okay? Vectors is always 1, and GPU threads is 1 to 2. This has 2 GPUs on it. It's 770, I believe, but actually it has 1. So we're just going to say 1, and that's it. Okay? So if you set this all up correctly, you should just be able to hit the start button. And